If fans are right, then Nathan Drake is guilty of worldwide manslaughter, making for an unintentional genocide of the human race.
Hold up, wait a minute.
The Last of Us is one of those games that showed us that video games can be way more than just a mindless form of entertainment. They can be meaningful, deep, and thought-provoking works of art. The Last of Us Part 1 is a story that takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where a fungal pandemic has wiped out most of humanity and turned many people into infected monsters. Now, this game came out 10 years ago, and it was so good that people are still talking about it to this day, making theories, still connecting the dots, and still speculating whether or not Joel made the right choice in the end. We love a timeless game. In this video, we're going to be discussing the many fan theories that are out there, including Nathan Drake possibly causing the outbreak. Let me know down below which one of these you think are true versus not true. Neither the game nor the show goes into detail about the origin of the infection. In the game, we learn that the infection apparently originates in South America and spreads into the US via contaminated crops. As far as the show goes, it would seem that the infection is just as mysterious and unknown. Only the opening scene suggests a possibility of any fungus mutating under the right conditions in such a way that humans could become susceptible.
Fungus. There are some fungi who seek not to kill, but to control. Viruses can make us ill, but fungi can alter our very minds.
A key piece of information is not even totally considered: the timetable for the infection. When did all this happen? And how long did it take? Did people really not know about it beforehand? In the game, the first stage of infection happened within 2 days. In the show, that period is even shorter. Based on the part of the body the infection enters through, with the longest time being between 12 and 24 hours. With such a quick period in which symptoms first appear, and if the infection originated in South America, the evidence would have become clear quickly. Whatever crops are imported into the States would take longer to reach the States than it would for people in South America to exhibit signs of infection. Fans believe someone was knowing something. Signs that are extreme and obvious would throw up immediate red flags to the world that something is seriously wrong. The industry of South America that provides these crops would have seen infections long before any of their products was shipped into the country. An infection of this nature would have forced the nation to cut off all incoming traffic from this area of any kind. They ain't coming here. Instead, the infection seems to happen in the States more or less all at once, unexpectedly.
Sarah, honey, I need to get your daddy on the phone.
Uncle Tommy, what time is it?
I need to talk to your dad now. There's something...
Uncle Tommy? Hello?
In both the game and the show, things appear to unravel over the course of a day or two. In the show, Sarah sees a kid in school exhibiting symptoms, and the Adler granny turns fast within a day to night period. In the span of a day, a large number of people become infected to the point that society literally breaks down instantly. There is also the question of how a large amount of fungi would end up in such a vast amount of the country's food supply unnoticed. Again, because of the timetable, we get an implication that one day there was no contaminated food products, and then the next there were. If this were a new, naturally occurring phenomenon, there would be much more blatant evidence that this infection was occurring before it would even reach the States. While we'll probably not find out for certain in the show, or maybe even the game, some fans believe it's a plausible cause to suggest that this was not the result of a naturally occurring fungal mutation, but rather a biological attack by an unknown entity. Maybe aliens. Nah, I don't know. Fan theory number 2. Throughout the Last of Us game, Joel gets in close contact with the infected. He fights off these creatures with any means necessary, including guns, knives, and his own fist. Because of this, Joel has no doubt come in contact with many contaminants. Many fans believe that Joel might have built up his own immunity without even knowing it. This holds weight considering how often Joel is in contact with the infected and surfaces containing the fungus. They are grabbing him, he's grabbing them, they are scratching him, spitting on him. There is a part in the game where Joel has to move a very old and rotted infected body, and as he is grabbing it, cordyceps particles and the remnants is floating in the air. Given Joel survives these encounters without any protective gear most of the time, fans believe it stands to reason Ellie may not be the only special one. I mean, there's a strong possibility that Ellie is not the only immune one out there. Like, what are the odds? Given that when a lot of people find out that they are infected, they wind up before they even know if they're going to turn or not. Especially given that in the HBO show, it was confirmed that the reason Ellie is immune is because Ellie's mom was bit right before she had given birth. I'm sure that had to have happened at least one other time. But was Joel afraid of getting bitten for nothing? Theory number 3. Many fans believe that Nathan Drake is responsible for the cordyceps brain infection in The Last of Us and is responsible for ending the human race. This is a doozy, so follow along. For this theory to work, you also have to accept the theory that both Uncharted and The Last of Us are in fact part of the same universe, which some people believe and some people don't. That's up to you. First, the similarities between the worlds. Cassie Drake, the daughter of Nathan Drake and Elena Fisher, has a Savage Starlight poster in her room. This strongly implies she's a fan of the Savage Starlight comic, which is a comic that is found also in The Last of Us.
To be continued. I hate cliffhangers.
There's a playable Crash Bandicoot game in Uncharted 4.
Crash Bandicoot.
Originally, Crash Bandicoot was released as a PlayStation game exclusive. There's also a PlayStation 3 in The Last of Us. The PlayStation console line is made by Sony. Both universes share the video game console manufacturers. In the Hotel Grand in The Last of Us, there are a number of newspapers on the ground with the headline stating, Uncharted 13, a Lush movie, Justin Bieber as Drake. Clearly Drake's adventures have gotten the attention of the general public, making him a well-known figure, maybe even famous. There's even an Uncharted board game in the toy store, implying that his popularity was large enough to justify merchandising. Both games even have the same pharmacy company. In Uncharted 4, young Nathan Drake can pick up a bottle of prescription medicine from Weston's Pharmacy. A Weston's Pharmacy can be found and entered in The Last of Us DLC, Left Behind. And all that's just to prove that they're in the same universe, you with me? During the first Uncharted game, Drake was on the hunt for El Dorado. Well, instead of a city of gold, he found a gold coffin that contained a body and dust. This dust turned people into zombie-like creatures if it's breathed in accidentally. As we all know, the cordyceps brain infection can be spread by bite from an infected and/or by breathing in spores. Well, someone that Victor Sullivan, Drake's business partner, owes money to, found out about their little venture and breathed in some of that dust. At that point, Nathan Drake and Victor Sullivan were exposed to the dust as well, but they did not breathe it in. So how does that equate to Nathan Drake spreading the cordyceps virus? Simple. Fans believe that the dust wasn't dust. What if the dust was spores? If the spores got out on the clothes of Nathan Drake and Victor Sullivan, then those spores would leave the island to be spreaded everywhere. Not to mention, the El Dorado coffin was dropped in the middle of the ocean. If it had even the tiniest crack, a single spore could spread by the weight of the 7 seas across all the continents of the globe. And keep in mind, that coffin was shot at by someone that was attempting to shoot Nathan Drake. And there's more. During Uncharted 4, you could find a strange pendant. This pendant is clearly a Firefly pendant, which means that the infection is happening in the background, and since it's labeled as a strange pendant, it's pretty clear that Drake is unaware of what's going on, at least for the moment. If he was aware, it would use the word Firefly instead of strange. However, how Uncharted 4 ends hints that Drake is becoming aware of the infection. How does this happen, you may ask? Simple. The Drake family moves on an isolated island far away from civilization, where you can only travel by boat, cutting off all access from the infection and/or possible persecution from the surviving victims. Living in a tropical paradise where they probably plan to sit out the infection to which they brought onto the world.
The City of Gold?
That's the legend. Turns out it was just a statue. A cursed statue.
No way, seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
If fans are right, then Nathan Drake is guilty of worldwide manslaughter, making for an unintentional genocide of the human race by way of irresponsible, illegal treasure hunting. Mankind wiped out by greed. Don't go to places you aren't supposed to, kids. Do you believe or disbelieve these fan theories from The Last of Us? Let me know down below, and let me know if you'd like more fan theories. Leave a like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. We out here growing. AK out.